Hello, guys. I hope you can hear us. This is Nandini and Tyler here joining us today. So just, say something, if you can hear us and, see us properly, then we will start everything. Oh, that's great. That's great. So you all are able to hear us. So hi, everyone. It's great to see you again. And I hope you all are doing safe and, being comfortable at your home. So I'm Nandini from Designhill, and I'm super excited to be back again with this another session. And I would like to welcome you for this AMA session where we are going to discuss how businesses and individuals can generate more sales through social media. So moving ahead, today's event is brought to you by Designhill, world's leading creative marketplace that caters to the creative needs of businesses and individuals alike who can source high quality designs from professional designers and buy unique products created by independent artists. So I would also like to, thank our guest speaker Tyler for today's event, who has taken the time from their schedules to be present here. So moving ahead, let me introduce our speaker for today. As you have seen his Instagram and his website, you must have some knowledge about him. So Tyler is a business and sales coach and also founder at Tyler Archer Consulting. He has taken businesses from zero to multi-million dollars in sales. He also helps coaches, consults, entrepreneurs and small businesses with understanding sales processes, knowing your clients and converting leads to sales. So it's great, and let's hear it from Tyler. Please say hi to everybody because everybody is so excited to be here.
Hey, how's everyone going? And thank you, Nandini, for the introduction. I appreciate it. Hope everyone's having a great day, evening, morning, wherever you are from the side of the world. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm excited.
So that's pretty much great, and let's start this session without any further delay. Moving ahead, Tyler, if you could just introduce, just talk about the topic before we start, with the questions and answers. What is this agenda about to generate the sales through social media? Because it's just not concerned to businesses or brands now. We are talking about personal brands. People are becoming brands right now, and as a freelancer, people are doing their businesses. So what is this agenda whole about? If you could just put the light on it.
Yeah, so if I recap a little bit, you're right. I mean, social media is becoming bigger and bigger through what's happened in this past year with COVID hitting. There's a lot of people breaking out, starting their own businesses, coming onto the entrepreneurial journeys, which is incredible. People are trying to, start their endeavor. And I mean, it's a noisy place, social media. So trying to get started, it's not easy. And, you're trying to start a business, trying to start a personal brand, you're trying to get ideal clients on board, you're trying to obviously generate sales. So we're going to try and talk a lot about that and how you can really just get yourself in that right position to get that real good head start.
So yeah, I mean, thanks for sharing the whole introduction about this thing. And before we move forward, let's just dive into the questions and answers. So as we all know, it's no secret that social media marketing struggle is real. Even though it's been in this, it's existed now for over years for many marketeers, the social media marketing struggle is still very real, and it's not for actually lack of trying. It's because of social media is an ever-changing environment. There are new tools, the algorithms are changing every day, new social platforms are there, and new tactics, clashing with old school misconceptions and unproven best practices. So, what are the first steps for, new brands needing to create brand awareness and sales through social media?
Good question. So you need to understand, first of all, who is your target client audience, customer. Who are you trying to target with your business is probably the first thing you need to do. Logos aside, but all that stuff you need to just put aside to one second and just figure out who you're actually targeting first. That's ultimately one of the most important things, because I think everyone's out there ready to help everyone with their business. They want to help so many people, especially in design. I see too many and a lot of people trying to help everyone they possibly can. You really just need to narrow it down and just focus on a specific market, a specific audience that you can really help, because that's not going to limit you straight away. It's actually going to narrow down your vision, your understanding of who you can actually help, but it's not going to limit people actually coming to your page or your social media account and reaching out to you, because they'll see the work you're putting in.
Yeah, that's very true. This is some great insight. Like you said, you really need to narrow down your approach and then start with it. So as we move forward, this whole session is about how to get clients from social media. Then a lot of people has confused, like they have to be active on social media. There is a lot of confusion, like they want followers, they want good engagement, because social media, it's actually, there are a lot of knowledge about social media on social media nowadays. So this leads to conundrum in the minds of users or brands. So there's a thing called social media marketing and prospecting. So it will be great if you could put some light on it.
Sure. So if we're talking about Instagram, if we based it on that one, because I feel as though a lot of people are coming from the Instagram social media, it is tricky. It is hard because I feel as though what you said, Nandini, there's a lot of noise regarding vanity metrics. So how many followers you have. There's a lot of other noise out there on how to grow your accounts and how to do this and how to do that. And it's easy to get confused. It's easy to get lost. And you've just got to put that aside and just don't worry about that. Focus on your business. That's what you've got to focus on. Everything else will follow, because not all followers are going to be your ideal clients or your ideal customers anyway. So you don't have to worry so much about that metric. What you've got to focus on is showing up. Your content has to speak to your target audience. That is number one. If a community is great. It does help support your page, but you want to speak to your target audience. That is going to be key. And then from there, you want to show up as much as you can in every means. So you want to show up in your IG lives. You want to show up in your stories. You want to show up more so in your DMs, because DMs, which is your direct message on your Instagram, is going to be where you get a majority of your sales.
I totally agree with the points that you said. There are a lot of things going on, but yeah, you have to understand the vanity metrics that you said, and a lot of people doesn't do that. So I hope you guys are enjoying this session, and we have started the session, and we'll be glad if you can ask your questions in the questions tab, and we will be further taking up questions from there. So moving ahead, my next question for you is, what are the basic steps one should take to start monetizing their social media?
So it's to start monetizing. So to start monetizing, you've got to really understand what you're offering. I'd say would be a good foundation. So your niche, who your target audience is, and then really figuring out who it is that you're going to be able to offer, have your service available. Like, what is your pricing structure? How does that fit into everything? This has got to be vital for you when you start, because if you have someone reach out to you and they want to buy something, for a product or service from you, you need to know your pricing. And I see this so many times. I get a lot of requests from it. Pricing your offer is going to be the next stage. You want to have this ready to go.
Again, yeah, that's right, because this is like a all different perspective when we dive deep into it, and we tend to understand the basics of it, and so moving ahead, um, you know like, here we are not just talking about individuals, we are talking about businesses as well. So these businesses can be small businesses who are 4 or 5 set of people doing their business, and solopreneurs can be there. So when it comes to like, actually, how do you get the sales team involved in the social prospecting? Because social media is a different thing, and getting the sales is different thing. So salesperson actually has their own skills, and social media person has their own skill. But now, how to get your salesperson, sales team to be incorporated with the social media, because that's a real issue.
So to incorporate sales into social media. So because having your service and your products and your offer ready to go is one thing, as you said, Nandini, but prospecting is something different. Again, prospecting is literally just finding your ideal clients through social media and reaching out to them, but not reaching out to them with a templated something along the lines of saying, hey, you straight away you're trying to sell them a product or service. Like, you want to just get to know that customer. Prospecting is about understanding who that is, having a conversation with them in their DMs. through that conversation network, you want to just build up that trust, build up that relationship, let them know you're there for them. That's the first foundation. You don't want to start pitching your service to them straight away, because it's going to start putting someone off. We're constantly sold to on social media in our lives, so people already have this reservation about being sold to. Like, it's the people just know that they're getting sold to. It's like the worst thing that most people feel. They're like, oh no, here we go, someone's trying to sell me something. If you can get that block down from them, that shield down from them, and make them feel comfortable, that is how you're going to know that you've already started to build that momentum. And that trust, you want to build that trust. It's really important.
So that's here. It's an again wonderful approach towards it, because these are the things that we read daily, read on a daily basis, and these are the phrases that we hear throughout the lifetime. Our parents, our people in journal, they keep on teaching us that, but it's just they are so hard to implement at times. We don't get the general idea of it. So moving ahead, my next question to you is how to, like, if you, let's just say a business has different things that they are offering, like they have affiliate, they have bundles that they are offering, they have courses also. So how to turn all these things into a revenue driver. Like, we are doing this thing, but how to get them on social media and get the traffic through them.
So getting the traffic through your offering, is that what you mentioned?
Yeah.
So through social media, is that right?
Yes.
So yeah, having a bundle through social media, I mean, you've got to really understand what your traffic is like, because I mean, there's so many ways. I mean, your content is your attention space. That's grabbing your attention, but ultimately you want to drive them to either a website. You want to have ads involved, which is targeting ads. You want to make sure those are down pat. Like, you've got to really understand when you're targeting your ads, how those work, because I mean, you can really fine tune that. But ultimately, social media accounts are attention. You want to drive them to a website, because that's when you can start having your leads in place. You can start having your email sequences on your bundles. You want to have that all as a combination. So there's got to be a factor of so many things involved, but you want to make it as seamless as possible. So it's one thing to another that's going to connect the dots.
So yeah, that's very true. That's very true to move ahead into this, and you have to keep things in place before you move ahead. And you approach users to avail your services. So as we have discussed, discussing all these things, and this is all about generating the sales, our leads. So do we have some strategies that we can discuss? Basic strategies to get these sales through social media for businesses.
For businesses. So if we talk about, again, Instagram, like, you've got to really set up your page. If we're looking at your page as a business, or if you're an individual designer, you want to have your page set up so it's speaking straight away to your audience. I mean, as much as we keep saying this, it's so important. You want to, if you look at your bio, we can talk about this now or later on in Andy, but if you set up, for example, Instagram, you want to make sure that you've got everything laid out that is perfectly speaking to your clients. So when they come across to your page, they're like, yes, this designer helps me. I'm in the food industry business, or I'm in the fashion business, whatever it may be. When they come across your page, it's got to speak to them. If you speak to everyone as soon as they come across to your page, they are going to get lost because it's too noisy. Be direct, be precise. If you start doing that, you will notice that people will start gaining interest. You'll start getting momentum. People start reaching out.
Yeah, that's very true. So I hope all of you who are listening to us, you guys are taking notes of it, and no worries if you have joined us late. You will get the recording in your mail, so no worries. And moving ahead, my next question is, as we have talked a lot about Instagram, and considering the features that Instagram is offering nowadays, the shopping feature has become really massive. Now, if we see the stats, the number of businesses that are has their shops on Instagram, and then moving ahead, when they introduce reels, and now they have a different button for reels, and they have a different section for reels on the Instagram. as it was a part of stories earlier. So it comes to the basics of Instagram also. Like when it comes to the Instagram bios, do you think it's more effective to describe your personal or professional passions in the bio, and how to get the most advantage of your bios on Instagram?
Good point. So if you're talking about your bio, Nandandi, what you need to have is and this is, don't take this the wrong way, but you've got to not speak about yourself. You want to speak to your target audience. They want to know what's in it for them. If you have a business, it's never about us. It's always about your clients, your customers. What can you offer them? What can you provide them? That is sales 101. Only ever talk about your clients, their outcomes. So when it comes to your bio, speak to your clients, your customers.
That's very on to point, like no bullshit, but yeah, you have to stick to what you're offering, because they are here to avail your services, not to know more about you or your personal or fashion. So yes, that's very true. Moving ahead, as I can see from the questions and the people who have registered, a lot of people who have joined here are mostly designers or artists or freelancers who are working on their own. So as a freelancer, how can they leverage their social media handles for to increase revenue?
For their handles?
Yeah, as a freelancer or an individual artist.
So with their handles, you've just got to make sure that it is, how would you put it? You don't want to overcomplicate it. You don't want to take out your any symbols that you want to make it nice and easy, easy for your clients to understand. It can be a name, like for instance, my one's the Tyler Archer. If I could have Tyler Archer, I'd try and make it like that, but it's taken, unfortunately. So, but you want to have it as straightforward as possible. Make it nice, easy to read. Don't overcomplicate it. Again, your handle is one of the most important things when it comes to Instagram. People are going to straight away read that. If it's confusing, they'll move on. If it speaks to them, it's going to start again gaining attention.
Yeah, truly said. So, I have been reading the questions here, and there's this one question that has got 5 upvotes. So I'm gonna, this is the question that you can see. I know my target very well, target audience, and I started to get traffic, but it's so slow. So how can I? Because this has got 5 upvotes, and this is the deal with people when they start out. It increases gradually, the traffic and everything, but then yeah, it gets on hold. So if you could just brief us about it.
Sure. So I know my target very well. I'm just reading it myself. Okay, I started again. It's okay. So we can do this, like, it's answered this two ways. So if we're not talking about Facebook ads, and we're not talking about paid promotions for you, and you're literally trying to get interest in your page, you have to get attention yourself. You have to go out there and get attention. You have to start creating that. You have to go out to your ideal clients, because you've said here, whoever's put this question, which is great. I know my target very well, but you also have to go do the groundwork as well. And I know from experience, from working with designers in the creative space, it's something that a lot of you don't feel comfortable about doing, but you have to, because it is your business. You have to feel comfortable about outreaching to your potential clients, getting in touch with them through the DMs, engaging with their content. Yes, it is work. There is time involved. But like any business, nothing comes easy. So you have to go and outreach too.
That's again very true point. Like you have to understand, what's the real deal here. And moving ahead, thank you for answering this question. I hope who's that? I think yeah. I hope you got the answer. So moving ahead, my next question is, um, uh, there are a lot of platforms on social media if we talk about, and it's like an online presence is mandatory nowadays, because everything is online. People are not able to get out of their homes. So how to choose the right platform for your business to market your services?
I would say don't choose one, choose multiple. But if I had to choose myself, I'd be choosing Instagram and LinkedIn. That would be my two at the moment, would be my two go-to for any business, because Instagram is still massive. It's still growing. They're obviously adding more features. but there's just so much there that you can get. There's still business to be made, but LinkedIn is growing. We've seen it grow. We've seen it grow over time, and now it's getting more busier and busier. There's more content creators moving over there, but there's still massive opportunities. I'd say for a lot of business to business and even in the design space, you can still get there, and I'd say you could probably get a lot more traction in LinkedIn. So I'll be starting to create some more content around there, because you'll find that you'll be starting to get attention as well.
Yeah, exactly. Very well made point. Like, as we have seen, Instagram has been booming and, making several changes and improving their platform. And as well as LinkedIn is concerned, it was like a same thing all along through the years. But now, if we see from the past 2-3 years, there are so many enhancements in the platform as well. And of course, yeah, people are going towards LinkedIn. So these are the two platforms. So guys, take notes, and also please ask questions, and we will be taking up questions like after 10 minutes. Moving ahead, my next question for you is, uh, when the marketing is, as far as the marketing is concerned, there are two types of products and services. Like, one is like either we are doing it B2B or B2C. So how can, what's the difference when you cater to B2B and B2C on social media?
When you cater to the different markets, so B2B and B2C, and this is a tricky question because I've had this a bit, and I think people are trying to think there is a massive difference, and there is, because obviously there's two different industries, but I don't think you have to confuse the situation too much. That at the end of the day, you are speaking to a human regardless. Yes, it is business to consumer, but there's also business to business, but behind that business, it's still another human. So when you're doing your targeted advertising or you are outreaching to those clients, you still have the same approach, but you just have to understand what the outcome is. I think people are confusing too much and getting too caught up in the situation. You just have to realize where their business is, do your research on their business or consumer, and figure out what is the outcome you're trying to provide. I think that is really massive. And outcome with an emotional is, you're going to win any time. You just have to understand how to do that and how to approach that.
Exactly. This has real good insights like you shared. So moving ahead, let's take one question from the questions tab.
Sure.
You can also check it out if you want to. So Samriddhi has one question which got 4 upvotes, and it's on the same thing that we have talked about, LinkedIn marketing. So if you could please share some tips and tricks for the same.
So LinkedIn marketing, please. Okay, perfect. So LinkedIn marketing, again, if you're looking to do this as a free agent and you aren't wanting to spend money to generate leads, it's no different than any other social media, or especially if I could put it back to Instagram, there's no difference in the way that you would approach your clients. You can search them through, there's plenty of channels to search through LinkedIn. Again, how you are going to present yourself, it comes down to your content. Again, it's no different. It's just a different means. It's a different channel. So understand who your ideal client is, reach out to them, go through their DMs, comment on their business pages, or if they've got a personal brand and you are willing to help them build that up. Again, it's all about that prospecting. It's not as difficult as people make it out to be. You just have to be prepared to put in that groundwork. Go out there, visit them, make initiations, create relationships, and you will see the reward. I can tell you now.
Again, a very well made point. Like, you don't have to hesitate towards reaching out, because the only thing you can do is to start is just reach out. Because there's no point of hesitating, because you are here to get clients, to reach out to more people. So moving ahead, as we have gonna cover the whole thing, how to when we create a brand, and we are showcasing our products and services. So how to create a brand identity and a positive brand association with your users?
Brand identity.
Yeah.
For your users, is that what you said?
Exactly. How to associate with your users, using your brand identity, whatever you have as a brand.
Again, you just have to understand who your audience is, who your client is, who your end user is, who that is going to be for your product or service. Because at the end of the day, if you can understand what their needs are and how that product or service is going to benefit them, you can build a brand around that. But you have to understand who they are, what's most important to them, what do they need, what are they wanting from your product or service. You can actually build a brand around that, and that's how most successful brands are built. They're not pitching their product or service and putting it out into the marketplace and going, okay, people have to like this. They are doing the groundwork first and figuring out what's missing, what's missing in the market, how could this really change someone's life, or how can this really help someone in their business, or how can this help the end consumer with what they're doing in their day-to-day. That's how you build a brand. It's not what we think it is, it's what your consumer or the business at the end of it is going to think about it. That's how a brand is built.
So that's very true. The groundwork is very much necessary, and people at times when they're confused, why I'm not able to associate with my users. That is the main, I think, a drawback. Just because of the same reason you are not able to reach out to your main source. So as we have talked about the prospecting clients and creating the brand awareness and choosing the right platform, now it comes to building conversions and follow-ups, and what's the communication like, how we should communicate actually to the brands, what should be a streamlined process for that.
You talk about as a designer to reach out to businesses, or is that what you mean to create business for yourself? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so let's talk about business in general. That would be able to everybody would be able to understand the real meaning behind it.
So I just understand you for reaching out. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly, because I feel like it's like the right communication channel or a message plays a very important role. The right uses of word, your message should not be, there are a lot of things that we talk about or read about on blogs and on here on podcasts. So what's your strategy for reaching out of, what's your communication like, um, what is your checklist actually?
Yeah, my checklist. Oh, that's a good one. So my checklist is how would I do it? So I would reach out to a target potential client, and I would just engage with them. I would, if we again, so we don't overcomplicate it, I'll talk about Instagram. So for me, if I was reaching out to a business individual, I would get on their page, I would engage with them, and this is no hack. This is just being genuine. I'd get to know them. I would give them and this is something that you guys have to pick up courage about. If you can, I would do a video message, a DM that is so powerful, like we're having now. We're having a good communication. People can see us. They can instantly build trust. They know who is behind that message. If that's what you want to get across, ask them how things are going for their business. How have they started their journey? How are things progressing for them? What struggles are they having at the moment with their designing? Have they, look at things like that. Do some research around their content so far they've put on Instagram. If you're a content creator, give them some free value as well. This is something that's really important. Do some free value back to them. It might be something like, hey, have you looked into changing your colors on your content to flow a bit better? Have you done, just a few little things like that? Because people love free value. We can't get enough of it. But that's going to give them a little bit more. They're going to go, oh, geez, this person's actually showing some interest in me, and they haven't asked me to buy anything. Amazing. And then they'll actually start returning the favor, and they'll have an actual conversation with you. They will come back. They will engage with you. You just have to give a little bit first. Businesses in general just don't give enough these days. So stand out from that crowd and actually give something back first, and you will get something in return. That's how it works. I can tell you now, it seems so simple, but a lot of businesses, individuals on Instagram, for example, don't do it enough. I mean, I even get DMs. I get people reaching out to me, straight away, they pitch something to me. It's an instant turn off. If someone actually engaged with me and asked how I was feeling, how my business is going, how my journey starts, it's just so effective.
Actually, yeah, there are so many points in this answer, like especially your checklist. So yeah, it's great, and I hope you guys are taking notes because it seems very important to me, all the things that you have said. So as you have been speaking through this half an hour continuously, guys, I hope you all also enjoying the session. But let's before we move forward, let's take a quick break of 3 minutes and keep this interesting conversation going on. So stay tuned and we will be back and hear more from Tyler. Let's take a quick break of 3 minutes and 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
Clarematics is a full-service video agency based around video production. We created a brand that fit our identity at the time, but as we've evolved as a company, we found that that original brand didn't quite fit our aspirations anymore. Finding a partner to rebrand your entire company takes a lot of time and effort. Finding Designhill was an incredible lifeline. Designhill offers a money-back guarantee. If we don't like any of the designs, we get all of our money back. The stuff that we ended up with were well beyond what we had been seeing on other creative services platforms. After creating a simple design brief by answering some questions created by Designhill, we posted, and within a few days, we had over 250 entries. Designhill's platform made it easy to communicate with all the potential designers. Eventually, we picked a winner. In addition to a logo, our designer also created a letterhead, business cards, and banners for all of our social media platforms. With Designhill's help, we now have a brand that meets our aspirations. We're ready for the future and everything that it's here to bring.
I've always been creative and always been an artist. As a young girl, I used to paint rocks and I used to sell them for a quarter on the street. And I just fell in love with it. It just grew into a passion of mine. I started looking on the web and I came across Designhill, and they had a design contest to design a logo, and I entered it and I won. And I was like, oh, this is really great. I can pick and choose what type of logos or design projects I want to work on. And it allows me to be creative, keep my hands, with my tools and working. So it's kind of nice. It's really easy to use. You can scroll through the projects and there's sections that you could go by. It's really easy. There's a few clients who have come back to use the one-on-one projects. There's one client in particular, she owns a vintage shop, and I designed her logo, and she came back. She needed a design for a flyer, and she really liked the illustrations that I did for her, so she came back a couple of times with projects. I would recommend it, especially if you're a designer that's starting out and you want to learn from other designers, seasoned designers. It's a place to keep in the game and keep using your tools. It makes me feel great, and it kind of confirms that I should be doing this. And I love to see logos that I've designed out, and proud of that. And I think that the clients are so happy that their logo represents what they do and makes them look good. It's a collaboration. It's good for me, and it's definitely good for them.
So I hope you guys are staying here. You are here only. We are back. We are back, and let's start. Again with this conversation that we were having. So as you have shared your communication strategy with us, Tyler. So moving ahead, we have talked about the prospecting part of to generate leads through social media. But when you let's just suppose you get a client. But how you prospect, what are the steps, while one should keep in mind while prospecting their clients on social media?
So once you've got a client, is that what you mean? Or you have a discussion with them, how to take it to the next level?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. The whole process, follow-up thing, and then closing the deal, and, everything.
Yep. So you definitely want to have a video correspondence like Zoom or Livestorm going. That is something that you can have an interaction with them. Some social media video connection that is going to be able to have a conversation with them. You've got to understand what type of leads you've got coming into your account as well through your DMs. I look at it as like you've got cold DMs and you've also got hot DMs. So you've got to know how to qualify them. Obviously, the hotter they are, that means the easier they are to close. Cold DMs, if I look at this and try and narrow it down for you, is something that you're going to have to warm them up in your DMs and then take them to a video conversation to qualify them. If they're ready to buy off you, there's no need to overcomplicate your sales process. Don't overcomplicate it. If they're ready to buy, don't keep overcomplicating it. You don't need to keep taking them into different processes. If they're ready to buy, create the transaction, make it seamless. Do it then in your DMs. It's nice and easy. Don't confuse the two.
So yeah, that's right. Like, this is the right way to move ahead and close the sales. But let's take some questions from the questions tab, because it's been a while we haven't
Definitely.
checked any question. Yeah.
Let's have a look. There we go. I like this one. How do I put it on the screen? Let's have a look. Start live. Oh, can I do that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How to reach out to businesses through DM without being salesy? Well, we did kind of cover this, but I get a lot of messages in my DMs as well around how to answer this. So again, if you want to reach out to businesses through DMs without being salesy, don't try and sell. Number one, it's simple. Don't sell them something, especially on your first go. Just get to understand their business, have a conversation with them, introduce yourself. If they've got their name, use their name. And it also builds that extra bit of trust, and it shows that you've gone out of your way to care. So first and foremost, when you're not trying to be salesy, just don't sell. Create a relationship, build trust, credibility, and then you'll find that things will flow a little bit better.
That's actually very to the point, and it's very true. So you need to cross the question so that we can take the another question.
Okay.
Yeah, great. So because that's very true. I've also heard these questions so many times. Like, what if we face rejection? And like you said, you don't have to sell in the first place. You have to introduce them and create the need to use your service. That's how you can get success in closing that deal. So moving ahead, do you want to take another question from the
Sure.
questions?
Let's have a look. I like these ones. How to create rapport with clients and have them come back for more work. If you're working with your clients and well, there's two sides to this, because you first said how to create rapport with clients. If you have got clients working with you and you've given them enough service and you've given them enough value through your work, then the rapport should have already been built up. Then for them to come back for more work, well, you've got to ask some hard questions. You would just be saying something along the lines of like, how would I put it? If they've had that good experience with you, would they refer more work onto you? Would they come back for their next service they need from you? Like, you've just got to ask that question. But if you've already built up that rapport, why wouldn't they come back? So you've asked how to create rapport. Rapport is one thing, but rapport should already be built because they're working with you. But then they will come back regardless. So there's two sides, but just ask the question as well. Have that review at the end. Ask them, hey, any more work that you've got down the line, would you come back and let us work on that for you? I mean, people will be pretty open to that. You've just got to ask the question.
Exactly. So moving ahead, as we have discussed everything, like pretty much everything, the main points, and then comes the pricing, because pricing is the basic thing for which everybody is doing business. So I have seen in businesses, some people are very open to put their pricing on their websites, but some are not. They say let's just connect. So what strategy works best? As you have been in this industry for so long, and so you must be having that idea, which works best, because of course it depends business to business, the nature of business. But yeah, in general.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I feel as though I see a lot more trending now, and I think it might be a little bit more effective from what I've seen in the research. Is that it's great having pricing on your website, but saying that if someone comes across and straight away they don't understand the value or what you can offer, they can easily turn around. So I think what you should do is have some qualifying questions, and this would be like a form or something, or this is how you get that lead generation coming on. You can create something, or you get them onto a call, you understand where you present pricing to them. I feel as though that's probably a lot more effective in this space, in the design space, because it's something that's so tailored to a business or to a certain person when you're trying to build up that value. It's not just a generalized, it's more specific. So I'd actually get them on a call in person, on a video chat, when you're discussing their needs, discussing their wants. I would sit down and discuss the pricing with them and have a range. There's a thing called the 3-tier system. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but it's quite effective. So you've got your lowest offer, your middle offer, and your highest offer. And normally your middle offer is what you price accordingly with the most value built into it, because most of the time they'll either go for that one or they'll go for your high-end offer. It's a strategy, but it's really effective. So get them on a call, discuss pricing with them, because this is also a good way that when you are talking with them, you can understand if they're hindering, if there's any objections. You want to be able to handle that in real time as well. You never want to get off a call and leave anything hanging that there might be any concerns about. You really want to deal with anything, especially objections, in real time, because pricing is sensitive. Like, we all get sensitive around pricing. So handling objections, especially in pricing, in a video call is going to be really effective.
So that was pretty great. Even it was really helpful to have this conversation about you regarding the price, because it is the one of the most important factor, when you are into the business. So moving ahead, as we've talked a lot about the Instagram and everything, we have also talked about bios, but then, comes the highlights. As we have discussed the pricing thing, it depends, as I've said in the starting, it depends from businesses to businesses. If you're because hiding the pricing or putting it in front is actually based for if you're offering services. If you have products, the prices are open to everybody. But moving ahead, my next question to you is using the highlight section of the Instagram, because bios work pretty great for it, but highlights are something which you keep an advantage of your stories, but you keep it in your highlights for the longer period of time. So how to optimize our highlights in Instagram stories to get clients see it and get back to us?
Yeah, so highlights just are another form, because I mean that transfers from your stories as well, but that just stores your highlights are another. Again, it's just another channel that if people want to see what work you've done, so you could put your highlights as work that you've done for similar businesses, which is always quite good. You might put this on testimonial reviews from businesses, so social proof. Social proof is massive. I can't stress that enough. So if you have done work for clients, I'd be sharing that through your highlights, through your stories at times as well, on how you've created a transformation, which is very important. So highlights are really good to optimize. If you've done, if you've gone on any designer podcasts, or you've been on a session like this as a designer, anything like this to create more awareness around the industry or clients or businesses that you can help, put that in your highlights. It's just another means for when people do come across your page, they can see what you've done and how you can potentially help them.
So that will be really helpful. And considering the niche of designers and individual artists who are selling their designs and globally and everything, it will be great if you can also share the behind the scenes and the process while creating, and your thought process while creating the designs and artworks. That will work great for you all. So moving ahead, let's take because we are short on time, we have 15 minutes left.
It's gone
So
far.
let's take more questions. And it's great, guys, you have been so patient, and it's great that Tyler has been asked answered like so many questions throughout this time. It's like I've asked you around 15-20 questions, and you've answered them all. So let's take one more question.
Okay, I'll put up this one. This is quite interesting. So let's have a look. So while putting up posts, does hashtags really help reach your target? If yes, how do we select the relatable hashtags? So hashtags is something that's very interesting, and I think a lot of people still try and understand. There's two ways you can look at this. Yes, hashtags can reach potential clients or businesses that you're wanting to target. So you've got to realize as well, I see a lot of designers using designer hashtags, which is great. It does get your content out there, but most businesses aren't going to go to a designer hashtag. They're not going to go for those. They're not going to look at that. You want to target their businesses. So if it's how to put the fashion industry and you design for them, you want to really narrow it down. You want to find some really tailor specific hashtags, because if you just type in say fashion, it's going to come up with like the biggest hashtag out. Really go through them and look at them. It might be in your area, you might look at those type of businesses and just really get it narrowed right down and focus on those hashtags. That's when you'll start getting people noticing your content. You will also search those hashtags as well. Go into them. Again, you've got two sides of a coin. You want to use hashtags that are going to reach your target audience, but you've also got to go into those hashtags and make conversations as well. So make sure you're doing both things effectively.
That's pretty much very much important. Like everybody is using Instagram to market theirs or their services, using a lot of hashtags. Yeah, you have to research them thoroughly and see how they can be helpful for you. So moving ahead, let's take more questions.
Let's have a look. What have we got? I think one Nos Nandandi with a bit of internet. Who have we got here? You said to... What else we got? Sorry, guys. I'm just going to read through this and just see what else we've got. Is giveaway best way to spread gain followers? Oh, have we got? Have we got everyone here? So I'm just waiting for Nandandi to come back on, but let's have a look if we can do this. Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
So I'm just going to go through these. What kind of ads would you recommend to get sales from Facebook? Interesting one. So I'm not a Facebook ads expert, but when you are targeting, you have to be very specific on who it is. Again, you've really got to break this down. I work with some, I've got some friends in that space of Facebook ads, and it's unbelievable how you can break down Facebook ads to, what favorite color someone wears or likes, and what animals are their favorite pets. Like, you can really break that down. So again, you have to be very specific with Facebook ads to get you the best return. I can't really go too much more into it, but just putting a Facebook ad out there with your business and an area is not always going to give you the best return. You have to invest. You have to invest a certain amount of money as well. Like, it's not one of those little things that you can throw, a few dollars into. It's more of like you've got to measure that ROI, that return on investment. You have to put in money to get money back. It's like anything.
Again, yeah, it's true, like you said. So Anandita has one question. Like, this is I find it great. Like, is giveaway best way to spread gain followers and spread word about your Instagram?
It can help, but you've got to be careful who you attract as well, because some people might want the free thing. It definitely can help, but if I would approach it different. Like, freebies are good to get attention, but it's not always going to mean business in return. Okay, if I was yourself, I would literally do how I create attention and how I understand, again, how to get new followers, because it's really hard to do a freebie and get new followers. I don't know if that's really going to work, but if I was you to get the attention for your business, I would start doing more stuff on your stories. Stories is probably still very underutilized how effective your stories can be. I'd actually be putting quizzes on there, story polls, getting people engaged. I'd actually do more freebies on my stories. So I've done them before regarding a free coaching session. And I find there you do get that more interest as well. So if I'd be saying like, hey, who would be interested in a free content creation giveaway or something like that? And then that would be the way I'd do it. That's the way I'd present a freebie, because I find that's probably the most effective.
Yeah, I got your point now. So I think Anandita has also, got the answer to her question. So moving ahead, as we don't have much time now, but I have this one question, as a brand, we are constantly, putting stuff on the social media to get, traction on the website or on our pages. But, how to be consistent in it, and, how to plan that strategy to, as there is a strategy for, social media, one strategy which is like is there, but there are some, there's a difference between targeting your audience users to, buy from you, and then engaging with them, or, having a conversation with them. So how to create a strategy for, to target the audience to buy from you or avail your services?
Yeah, sure. Okay, a strategy. So when it comes to your content, I'd be putting in you would be putting in content strategy. Okay, how would I put it? You want to put a transformation. It's very hard to probably break it down right now, but if I was putting content out, it'd be about your work and how your work can benefit a business or your end user. I would then again be talking about another one is transformations and the outcomes that would provide. Another thing would be as well, if you've worked with a previous client and what their pain points or struggles were, and how and what those, I'd be talking about those in my content. There's certain things that you can use. Again, I'd be going back to stories too, doing polls, asking what people were struggling with in their business when it comes to designing or content, and you'll actually see people generating polls for you. That's another way that you can create content off. So you've got these different ways that you can actually create that content strategy.
So it was great, thank you for sharing all these tips. And as we've come to the end of this session, I think, guys, we're sorry we took most of the questions, that was necessary, which were like most upvoted, but we're so sorry we're short on time to answer your more questions. But yeah, of course, you can get in touch with Tyler, as we have shared his Instagram. You can connect with him and drop him a DM. I'm sure he will be, glad to help you out. And, as we've come to, thank you so much, Tyler, once again for joining us today and, answering all our doubts. This was indeed a, value-packed discussion where we touched upon a lot of topics, and you answered a lot of questions on how businesses or individuals can generate more sales through social media. And not only that, you've also, made us familiar with using these features of popular social media platforms. So I hope you guys also enjoyed the session. And moving ahead, although there is a lot more that we could have discussed, but unfortunately we are limited by time here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Once again, I would like to thank Tyler for joining us and, doing this for the community. It's great having you, Tyler. I hope you also enjoyed the session and answering, connecting with all these people today.
It was fantastic. I really appreciate the opportunity, and all you've been fantastic. I appreciate all your questions. Hopefully you got some value from the session. And as Nandini said, reach out to my Instagram if you've got any questions. Reach out anytime, and I'd be more than happy to help you.
So you got it, guys. And moving ahead, as we've come to the end of this, Tyler, is there any piece of advice, in the end of the session, if you want to share any piece of advice that stick to you, throughout your career, throughout your life, which you want to share with all of us, that will be really great.
Yeah, I would actually. So regarding designing, and the number one request I get regarding designers and branding for themselves is get past your logo of your own business, be seen, otherwise you will be forgotten. You want to get out there as much as you can as a designer. You want to show your face. I know it's hard because sometimes you get in the space of, potentially, there might be a little bit, the introvertness might be a bit quiet. You don't want to show yourself as much, but get out there as much as possible. Be your own brand. This is going to do wonders for you and your business, I can tell you now. So designers, creators, anyone in business that you're listening, personal branding is becoming a hot topic right now. Get seen, get out there, show your face. This is going to generate more business than ever.
That's very true. So I hope you guys are, pretty much more motivated as you were before the starting of the session, because I am totally filled with motivation right now, and I feel like I have more knowledge. So, and of course, as you were saying, Tyler, you were, it was really valuable to, have having a word with you and, understanding the, basics, and we dig deep into the topic as well. So it was great. And all right, guys. So thank you so much, and we have shared some more, links of our upcoming events. These are social media events and workshops that are coming up more for you, and you don't have to pay a single penny for this. You can register for free. So thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much, Tyler, once again. And
My pleasure.
hope to see you again. And thank you so much. And bye, guys. See you again.
Appreciate it.
Bye.